good as it's gonna get.
It's close enough.
The decision to open Installation 07 up for exploration was always going to be met with reservations. Halo Infinite is disrupting a campaign structure that the series has deployed with great success for 2 decades after all. And if you close your eyes and embrace the skepticism, you can almost hear Cortana saying it now. We have the human race to save, Chief, but another settlement needs your help. Here, I'll mark it on your tacmap. Admittedly, my heart sank a little as I first looked out across the breathtaking skybox of Zeta Halo. The serenity disrupted as an overlay of the area began to ping with these different points of interest, as if it were an exotic locale that Ubisoft had appropriated for a Far Cry in space. But after spending hours with the Halo Infinite campaign, open world Halo isn't what I imagined it would be. While Halo Infinite has clearly taken its inspiration from modern open world experiences, it's working across more self-contained and smartly interlocked spaces. The area of Zeta Halo that you're able to explore in the early game has been effectively segmented into a multitude of large-scale, open-ended sandboxes, the kind Bungie once used to make Master Chief a legend. Forget Far Cry and Fallout, because a better comparison might be Batman Arkham Knight. Master Chief lands on Installation 07 with the war against the Banished already lost. The surviving crew of the UNSC Infinity scattered and fighting for survival. You aren't trying to finish the fight in Halo Infinite, you're trying to start one. Chief is battling for inches of territory against an entrenched force, all while rallying UNSC Marines to his side and hunt for equipment he can use to help turn the tide. For the UNSC to gain a foothold, forward operating bases need to be reclaimed from the Banished. There are multiple of these in each segment of the map, and capturing one will expand your opportunities. They kind of act as fast travel hubs and as anchors for your exploration. As a reward for gaining ground on Zeta Halo, the tacmap will update with a handful of waypoints in your local vicinity. These are all optional missions which can be skipped should you rather continue down the critical path of the campaign. There are Banished and UNSC voice recordings to locate, filling in the blanks between Halo 5 Guardians and Infinite. There are Spartan cores to be hunted down, which can be used to upgrade Master Chief's equipment. There's weapon lockers that contain special cosmetics that you can take back into the Halo Infinite multiplayer. And there are also optional battles that you can engage in. Now these take many different forms in Halo Infinite. You could be walking around and see some Marines that are in desperate need of help, and you can sort of dive in and help them survive the Banished, at which point they'll reward you with a resource called Valor. Now Valor is this thing that you accrue for doing optional side quests out in the sections of the world that you're in. As you accrue more Valor, you can take that back to your forward operating bases. It basically unlocks more equipment, more weapons, more opportunities. So let's say you wanted to attack a big Banished base. You could first go to a forward operating base, summon in a Warthog and a sniper rifle or a rocket launcher or anything like that. And, let's say you get the Warthog, the Marines, if you've saved enough of them, they populate these bases. And, they'll start piling into the Warthog. You can grab your favorite weapons and then just barrel straight down to these bases and, have a party with you while you assault the structure, and, the AI will react accordingly as well. So the game is surprisingly versatile in that respect. Like, the AI does seem to change depending on how you attack these bases out in the world. So let's say you didn't want to go that route and you wanted to sneak in using the grappling hook to get up on a roof and sneak in. You can go that way and the AI will react, or you could, grab a sniper rifle and sit outside the walls and just try and take off enemies and whittle it down until you get inside, at which point it then sort of transforms into that traditional Halo that you remember. I haven't seen anything yet that's sort of on the structure, on the scale of, the biggest battles from, say, Halo 2 or 3, but there's something about the way that this combat works that's really fun. I guess that kind of ties into this larger story in Halo Infinite, where it's yes, you're trying to save humanity, but you're also trying to secure the ring. So by doing that, you're taking back these bases that UNSC lost to the Banished. The maps are quite segmented, so it's not open in the same way that Fallout is. It's not open in the same way that Far Cry is. It's more, you have these sections that are basically gated by the story. So when you complete a story mission, it basically opens the world up a little bit more, and you can basically move on to the next area, at least the way that I've been playing it. And the campaign missions are basically traditional Halo. There's a a marker on the map that says, hey, we need to go here and investigate this or this, which you can do. And then once you get in there, it's linear Halo, as good as it's ever been. But you don't have to go to that straight away. That's where the exploration comes in. That's where doing these optional activities come in. And you do those, you get upgrades for your equipment, but you don't have to do that. And I get into an area, I capture a couple of these bases, which shows you a couple of points of interest on the map, and then I complete all of those, and I say, great, this bit's done. And then I go to the next story mission, and I'm like, holy shit, this is amazing. And then I'm into a new bit of the map, and I've just been doing this. It's been a nice, steady cadence, right? Where I'm not overwhelmed by the amount of waypoints, I'm not overwhelmed by all these side activities. It's just me slowly moving through this gorgeous space. I mean, we didn't even talk about how it looks, but I mean, it's one of the nicest sandboxes I think I've seen in a game since Destiny 2 or the Outer Worlds. Like, it just looks unreal. Open world Halo as an idea sounds problematic, but I think really it's more wide open instead of completely open world. Like, these are wide open spaces that are patchwork together, and then as you complete story missions, they sort of interconnect and let you progress. And obviously that's a really nice way of them sort of balancing old Halo, the Halo that we all grew up loving, and new Halo, a platform that for this to grow over the next 10 years. From what we've seen of the world so far, we're only allowed to talk about the first 4 hours of the campaign, so can't really say what will happen when it's all said and done, but it does look like this is going to be the foundation for growth. 343 have said to Games Radar in the past that this is a platform for the growth of the franchise and a space for them to explore different narrative possibilities in the future. So while we don't know what the state of the open world will be by the time, the fight between the Banished and the Chief comes to an end, this is the foundations for something bigger as we understand it. Now, in terms of whether you'll want to explore that world, there is plenty of stuff hidden in there that, I'm still digging around trying to find, even in the space that's been allocated to me for this preview. There's all these voice recordings which really fill in the story, not only of the Banished and, what's going off. They're the splinter group from the Covenant. They've got this, unless you played Halo Wars 2 or have read the novels and the comic books and all that stuff, they're kind of a mystery to most mainline Halo players. So these recordings sort of give you some insight into that. And then there's voice recordings from friendlies from the UNSC as well, so that will track what happened in the months that Master Chief was missing in action. It'll also take us through what some other characters that we know from the franchise have been doing in the meantime. I would also guess, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm going to guess that it will sort of bridge the gap a bit more between Halo 5 Guardians and Halo Infinite. And on top of that, there's also hidden skulls, which co-op is not available in the game at launch, but it is coming next year. Skulls are the things that you'd use to sort of add modifications to the game, to make it more challenging, to make it a bit more ridiculous. That's going to be perfect for co-op, so we'll be spending months looking for those, I'm sure. And then, as I said before, there's weapon lockers that you can find that help expand your cosmetic options out into the multiplayer. Halo Infinite has been a long time coming. 343 has been in charge of this franchise for a decade now. Halo 4 and Halo 5 really split opinion. So I think there's some trepidation coming into this. There's always hesitation when a studio wants to do something big, something new with an established franchise. What I can say after playing 4 hours of the Halo Infinite campaign is that I wouldn't worry. I think that this is a really bold new future for Master Chief, but it's one that feels necessary. Halo feels a certain way. 343 has captured that and it's put it into these bigger, more expanded spaces, and it feels amazing. If you just want to play a really linear, cinematic, interesting, sci-fi campaign like you have with Halo 1, 2, and 3, you can do that in here. You don't have to engage with the extra bits. If you want a more expanded campaign with more opportunity, and you really want to push these sandboxes, then you want to explore, you want to see what's out there, you want to get equipment upgrades to the grappling hook and all the different pieces of equipment you can find in the game, and really just give yourself more opportunity and more scope to play. I think that's what's really impressive about Halo Infinite, not even thinking about the multiplayer, but the campaign is just, it's different. It's something new, it's something good, the polish is fantastic. 343 have used that extra development time they've had to really just polish this game up, make sure it works as well as it should and could do, and I'm having a great time with it. Obviously the game is out December 8th, So if you're in any way interested, I would get excited, get it pre-downloaded on Xbox, because it's going to be big.
Welcome to my tower, Master Chief. It is where you will be broken. It is where you will give up your secrets.